Hey, good morning. It is Tuesday on the 7th day of November. And I know yesterday I said I was going to talk about potentially making this whole legacy thing, like a multi-series thing, unless I thought of something else to say. Well, I thought of something else to say. And it actually came to me last night because I have, there is a lady that I know that we grew up together, and we went to middle school together, and just we went to school together when we were kids, and so we've known each other a very long time. And she's kind of who inspired this live today, because I do say this in the office a lot, and I just didn't realize it, and so I thought, let's make a live on this. So yesterday on my personal page, I posted about alkaline water, and how it's really not all it's cracked up to be at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So I wanted to talk about that very quickly. It's starting to become more a bigger deal here where we live in West Texas, but I have been seeing alkaline water for years and years and years. When I lived in Dallas, about 15 years ago, maybe even longer than that, people just really started drinking alkaline water, and it was all the rage. And the premise is that if you're drinking alkaline water, then it's going to make your body more alkaline, and you're not going to have trouble with different signs and symptoms. And while it's a good thought, that's not really how it works. So the stomach is supposed to be very acidic. In fact, 1 drop of stomach acid is supposed to be able to melt a railroad tie, right? Like one of those big, thick railroad ties. 1 drop. I really don't know anybody these days whose stomach acid is acidic enough to be able to do that. And that's for a whole lot of different reasons. One is our food pyramid is incredibly inverted and full of junk. The grocery store, you can find some actual food there, but there's a lot of food-like products. There's a lot of junk in our food. There's terrible things in our water, on and on and on. So our digestion gets really off, and digestion actually begins in the mouth. So digestion does not begin in the stomach, it begins in the mouth. The stomach just kind of finishes it up. So when you're putting alkaline water into your stomach, you're changing that pH level. So you're taking something that is super alkaline, putting it into something that is supposed to be very acidic to be able to finish breaking down your food, and it changes that very acidic environment to a more alkaline environment, which is probably off anyway, because I see a lot of people in office every single day who have trouble with digestion. And it's also going to change the acidity in the mouth as well. So alkaline water is not good, because it does change the acidity of the stomach, makes it more alkaline, which means that you're not going to be able to break your foods down as well. If you can't break your foods down by the time it gets to the small intestine, which is where absorption happens, it can't be absorbed. And then if you can't absorb your food, which is information, you're not getting the right information to all of the cells. So what do I recommend? I recommend drinking distilled water. And the reason I recommend drinking distilled water is because it is the most pure form of water. And I hear this every single day. Yeah, but I've got an RO filter. Or, yeah, I drink spring water, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. It may be without some of the other things that tap water is, but it is not without chemicals. It is not without heavy metals. It is not without other toxins where distilled water is. That's why I say it is the most pure form of water available. Okay, so then people say, oh, well, but it doesn't have any minerals. Okay, put them back in. Simple and easy, right? People say, oh, it's going to pull all your minerals. I beg to differ on that. But if you're worried about that, put some minerals back in. So how do you do that? Well, make sure that the minerals you are putting in are really great, well-sourced minerals. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. I put in CT minerals, or I take CT minerals by Cellcore, and that helps remineralize the body. It helps remineralize the water. You could also take pink Himalayan salt, and you can put distilled water on top of that. So you want to take a little bit of salt, put it in a jar, about like that, and then fill that jar with distilled water and let that sit. And then you can take a teaspoon and you can put that teaspoon in like a glass of water. There's also some things that we use in the office that works really well. And I like to use these two products synergistically, which is something called Rehydration Tone and Spectramin by Energetics. And what that does is that helps open up the cell wall and it rehydrates the cell itself. And a lot of people, when they have dehydration and they're very thirsty, it's because the cell wall cannot open to accept the hydration. So these two products work synergistically, Spectramin and the Rehydration Tone, to remineralize the cell and also rehydrate the cell and the body as well. So that's what I recommend. Distilled water. I've been drinking distilled water for a very long time. I encourage you to go to mypurewater.com and check out the information that they have on their website. They've got a variety of great information. You can sign up for their newsletter. They have articles. They have all sorts of educational material that tells you why distilled water is better. And then they also have distillers that you can purchase for your home. And I have one at my house. And I distill water all the time. It's just running. And they have a variety of different sizes. I just have a little counter one that I run often, and it works wonderfully well. So if you're interested in that, I have a code for My Pure Water, and it is Dr. Ballman, and I'll double check that because I'm just pulling that off the top of my head, but that will save you a little bit of money if you decide to get a distiller. So check that out. If y'all have questions or if you have any comments about distilled water, put them below, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.